There's something I need to tell you. Tangled into each other, cradling and making strong eye contact, the guy's intention increases gradually amidst the silence. Her continued silence gives rise to an anxiety he can barely stomach. Raising his eyebrow in anticipation, overcome by the occasion, her body language and facial expression is a concerning sight. I'm not sure how to tell you, she gives of the tranquility. Don't tell me you're... He interrupts in a troubled tone, not able to finish the sentence, more concerned than he is disappointed. No, I'm not, but I will be. Tearing up, she quickly responds, burying her face between his legs, almost as if she's trying to escape her reality. I'm helpless, Mori. My fate has been sealed. I'm wrestling God and I'm afraid I won't win, she mumbles. I need you to know this. Lifting her head and looking him in the eyes. I've stayed sober for this, soaking as much of every moment with you, and now I feel it slip away. Biting his teeth in response to the tears threatening to make an unwelcome appearance, his emotions won't let him speak. The world was different when they were around each other. They were often on a joyride, escaping to a new reality, their emotions taking them to different places, spending hours in the warmth of each other's presence, losing all sense of time. One night, they fell asleep, having endlessly exchanged energy. He awakes, laying on his back, looking through the open roof, the dark night staring back at him with stars poking out, only to find out she had left, and that was the very last time he'd see her. It's 12 a.m. on a Sunday. The sun is out in ugly day. A hood in the south, where most people don't often amount to much. With little resource and little opportunity, harmful activity thrives in what is mostly a toxic environment. Half the streets walks desperate beings hungry for what little stimulation they can scavenge. Drugs everywhere, more of a coping mechanism to the hard life than a luxury. Surrounded by dry open field in a wrecked cabin, sitting oddly in a peaceful place, Moreno awaits patiently, nervously hoping she'll show up today. He hasn't seen her in a while. It's been weeks. It's been eating him from the inside, starving with desires to be with her, especially after the last conversation they had. Ugly Day seems a place that is allergic to good. Any form of life is usually trampled by bypassers. A yellow blooming sunflower is a rare sight, he thinks to himself, looking at the beautiful flower growing in the middle of the ruined cabin, perfectly placed to receive as much sunlight coming through the wrecked open roof. He remembers why they planted it. It was a symbol of what they shared together. You know you're having the time of your life when 8 weeks of reality is a timeless fantasy stuck in your head. Well, 8 weeks ago, Julie and Mori were complete strangers. 8 weeks later, a bond instantly formed between them from the moment they interacted with one another. It was dark outside. With the sun setting, the numbers in the train began dissipating as passengers reached their respective destinations. With little to no lights, one could barely see the faces sitting around them. The train is an old rusting machine, so well built that it won't break down, one of the only facilities Ugly Day could still rely on. It's a bit too late to be traveling alone at this time, but it's okay, I'll protect you. Moreno is unexpectedly met by a sweet feminine voice. Not too far from him, he identifies the figure, sitting precariously. He tries to hide his smirk. Shouldn't I be saying the same to you? He whispers in a soft voice. I'm a terrifying individual, won't you say? She proclaims. He chuckles, failing to hold in his laughter. You do seem quite the threat. He highlights in ironic tone. Well, at least you have me terrified. Half an hour passed, every sentence bringing them closer and closer. Before long, they were sitting facing each other, pushing and grabbing, laughing like childhood friends, unaware of where they were. The train, traveling from one end of the city to the other, finally reached its last stop. I couldn't stop thinking about him that night, eager to see him again, impatiently waiting for the start of the next day. And so the next day arrived, and then the next, And soon, weeks went by as they spent every moment they could together. Her fears growing bigger the closer they got. She was falling in love with Moreno, but he wasn't the only thing she had fallen in love with. Julie, the bright girl who was misunderstood by her peers, only had a brother, and although he was older, most times she'd be the one taking care of him. The community would urge her to lighten up, lighten the load, and let the drugs clear the smoke. She used to say, "When I see myself smile in the mirror, I want to smile back." Starving was a regular occurrence. They'd smoke to endure the hurt. Despite her defiance, that one morning she lightened up and let one up would be the same day she would meet Moreno. Moreno waits patiently, nervously hoping she'll show up today. He has not seen her in a while. It's been weeks. It's been eating him from the inside, starving with desires to be with her, especially after the last conversation they had. He discovers a piece of paper with writing on it, a letter. It read, "Dear Moreno, I know you've noticed the rotting facilities, the broken people, the city itself threatening to consume all that's good within every one of us. But I hope you fail to note that I too have begun rotting with it. I hope you never get contaminated. Truth is, I'm selfish. I want the little part of me that lives in you to survive all of this and die happy. I've always thought of myself as different, different from all these people who choose to die to survive the day. I'm afraid I've become like them, taking pills to escape reality. Unfortunately, you belong to the same reality my addiction won't let me stay in. I wish I had never blown anything down my nose that day. Crazy how a day can affect the rest of your life. That's the same day you came into my life. I began losing you the moment I met you, and I knew it too. My Mori, you are the bit of good that's still left in this city. Don't change. Don't let it consume you."